Every 36 seconds in America, someone over 65 dies from heart disease. But here's what shocked me as a health educator who has worked with thousands of seniors. Many of these deaths could be prevented by simply changing what's in their evening glass. If you're over 60, I need you to listen carefully. That drink you reach for every night, the one you believe is harmless or even healthy, might be silently stealing years from your life. I've seen too many vibrant seniors walk into health screenings feeling fine, only to discover their heart is under attack from a habit they never questioned. What's even more heartbreaking is that most of these drinks are marketed as senior-friendly or even heart-healthy. The wine industry, the beer companies, they know exactly who their target audience is. But after 60, your body processes alcohol completely differently, and what once seemed harmless becomes dangerous. Today, I'm going to reveal the 4 most dangerous alcoholic drinks for your aging heart. At the end, I'll share 3 simple swaps that my healthiest patients use to actually strengthen their hearts after 60. If this information could help someone you love, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more health tips designed specifically for seniors. Now, let me ask you this. Have you ever been told that a glass of red wine is good for your heart? If so, you need to hear what I'm about to share first. 1. Red wine, the deadliest health myth. Let me start with what might be the most dangerous lie ever told to seniors about their health. You've heard it 1,000 times. A glass of red wine is good for your heart. It's been repeated so often that it feels like medical fact. But here's the truth that the wine industry doesn't want you to know. After age 60, that nightly glass of red wine isn't protecting your heart. It's slowly wearing it down. The so-called French paradox that everyone talks about? It was based on outdated research from the 1990s that didn't account for how dramatically your body changes as you age. According to the American Heart Association's latest guidelines from 2023, there is no safe level of alcohol consumption for heart health in adults over 60. None. Here's what happens inside your body after 60 that makes red wine so dangerous. Your liver's ability to process alcohol slows down by nearly 40%. That means alcohol stays in your system longer, working against your heart for hours after that last sip. At the same time, your heart becomes 60% more sensitive to alcohol's effects. What your body could handle at 40 becomes toxic at 70. Let's talk about that resveratrol everyone mentions. Yes, it exists in red wine, but to get the heart benefits they claim, you'd need to drink over 100 bottles of wine. And long before you'd see any benefit, the alcohol would have destroyed your heart, your liver, and possibly your life. What's even more concerning is how red wine interacts with medications that many seniors take daily. If you're on blood thinners like warfarin or Eliquis, that glass of wine can make your blood dangerously thin. If you take blood pressure medications, wine can cause your pressure to spike unpredictably. The combination can be deadly. Let me teach you something that could save your life right now. It's called the 30-second pulse check. Place 2 fingers on your wrist, just below your thumb. Count your heartbeats for 15 seconds, then multiply by 4. A healthy resting heart rate for seniors should be between 60 and 80 beats per minute. But here's what's crucial. The rhythm should be steady, like a metronome. If you feel skipped beats, racing, or irregular patterns, especially after drinking wine, that's your heart crying for help. I want to tell you about Frank, a 71-year-old retired postal worker from Ohio. Frank read about the French paradox in a magazine and decided to start drinking 1 glass of red wine every night for his heart health. He was proud of this choice. He'd tell his friends at the diner, "Doctor's orders," he'd joke, raising his glass. For 5 years, Frank never missed his nightly ritual. Then, one Thursday morning, while sorting through his mail, his heart started racing. He felt dizzy, confused. His wife drove him to the emergency room, where doctors discovered he had atrial fibrillation. His heart was beating so irregularly that he was at immediate risk for a stroke. The cardiologist asked Frank one simple question: "Do you drink alcohol?" When Frank proudly mentioned his heart-healthy wine routine, the doctor's face grew serious. "Stop immediately," he said. "That wine is what's causing this." Frank was devastated. He'd been trying to help his heart, and instead had been slowly poisoning it. But here's the hopeful part of Frank's story. 6 months after quitting wine completely, replacing it with pure grape juice, and adding a 20-minute evening walk, Frank's heart rhythm returned to normal. His energy came back. His sleep improved. His doctor was amazed at the transformation. Frank often tells me now, "I wish someone had told me the truth about wine sooner. I could have saved myself 5 years of damage and a lot of fear." But if you think wine is the only problem, the next drink might surprise you because it's what most American seniors consider completely harmless. 2. Beer, the silent heart killer. Now let's talk about beer. The drink that most seniors think is completely harmless. After all, it's just beer, right? It's not hard liquor. It's not fancy wine. It's the drink you grab while watching the game or share at a backyard barbecue. But here's a statistic that should wake you up. Beer consumption among Americans over 60 has increased by 25% since the pandemic began. And many of these seniors switched to light beer, thinking they were making a healthier choice. They couldn't be more wrong. Beer might taste light and refreshing, but inside your body after 60, it becomes a silent weapon against your heart. Here's what happens every time you crack open that can. Beer is loaded with carbohydrates that your aging metabolism can't process efficiently anymore. These carbs, combined with alcohol, get converted straight into visceral fat. That's the dangerous fat that wraps around your internal organs like a toxic blanket. This visceral fat isn't just about appearance. It's an active enemy pumping out inflammatory chemicals directly into your bloodstream. These chemicals attack your arteries from the inside, raise your blood pressure, and force your heart to work harder every single day. And here's what makes it even worse for seniors. Beer causes dehydration. Your kidneys are already working overtime after 60, and beer makes them work even harder. Dehydrated blood becomes thick and sticky, making it much more likely to form the kind of clots that cause heart attacks and strokes. Let me give you a simple way to see if beer is affecting you more than you realize. Here's what I call the weekly beer calculator. Think about last week. How many beers did you have? Don't just count the ones at dinner. Count the one while cooking, the one watching TV, the one with friends. Now multiply that number by 150 calories. That's just the calories, not counting the carbs or the alcohol's effect on your metabolism. Most seniors are shocked when they do this math. I need to tell you about Patricia, a 66-year-old retired nurse from Houston. Patricia was health conscious her whole career. She ate salads, took her vitamins, walked regularly. But after retirement, she developed a routine of having 2 light beers every evening while watching the news. "It's just light beer," she'd tell herself. "And I earned it after all those years of taking care of others." Patricia didn't realize that those harmless light beers were causing visceral fat to accumulate around her heart. Over 18 months, she went from a size 12 to a size 16. Her blood pressure, which had been normal her entire life, suddenly required medication. During a routine checkup, her doctor took one look at her labs and said something that terrified her. "Patricia, if you don't make changes now, you're headed for heart failure." That was Patricia's wake-up call. She replaced her evening beers with flavored sparkling water and lemon. Within 6 months, she lost 15 pounds, and her blood pressure improved so much that her doctor reduced her medication. Patricia tells me now, "I had no idea that something so simple was putting my heart at risk." Now, I know what some of you are thinking. But what about social situations? Here's a quick tip. Arrive at gatherings with your own sparkling water in a nice glass. Most people won't even notice what you're drinking. And if they ask, just say you're taking better care of your heart. You'll be surprised how many people respect that choice. But speaking of social situations, there's a category of drinks that seniors often choose for celebrations, thinking they're treating themselves to something special. 3. Cocktails and mixed drinks. Sweet death in a glass. Cocktails feel like celebrations, don't they? There's something elegant about ordering a Manhattan at your favorite restaurant or enjoying an old-fashioned at a family gathering. These drinks make seniors feel sophisticated, social, even youthful. But beneath that sweet, carefully crafted taste lies a double threat that's particularly devastating for aging hearts. Here's what makes cocktails so dangerous after 60. You're not just getting alcohol. You're getting a massive dose of sugar, artificial sweeteners, and syrups that your aging pancreas struggles to process. This combination creates a perfect storm in your bloodstream. The sugar spikes your blood glucose, while the alcohol interferes with your body's ability to regulate it. Over time, this becomes a gateway to diabetes, insulin resistance, and severe cardiovascular damage. But here's what most seniors don't realize about restaurant cocktails. When you order just one drink at dinner, you're often getting the equivalent of 2 or 3 standard drinks. Restaurants serve cocktails in larger glasses with generous pours because it increases their profits. That innocent-looking Manhattan might contain 3 ounces of whiskey instead of the standard 1.5. Let me ask you this. How many of you have ordered just one cocktail at dinner without realizing what you were actually getting? I'd love to hear your experiences in the comments below. I want to tell you about George, a 73-year-old widower from Sarasota, Florida. After losing his wife of 48 years, George started going to happy hour at his local Olive Garden 3 times a week. He'd order a Manhattan and sit at the bar, making conversation with other regulars. It felt like connection in a time of overwhelming loneliness. George didn't realize that his grief ritual was destroying his health. During a routine checkup, his doctor delivered shocking news: prediabetes and an irregular heartbeat. The cardiologist asked about his drinking habits, and when George mentioned his happy hour routine, everything clicked into place. But George's story has a beautiful ending. He found activities at his local senior center, learned to make mocktails with fresh fruit, and built a new social circle that didn't revolve around alcohol. His blood sugar stabilized, and his heart rhythm returned to normal. But there's one drinking habit that's even more dangerous because it happens when you're most vulnerable. 4. Nightcap habit, when bedtime becomes deadly. We need to talk about drinking alone, specifically drinking to sleep. For millions of American seniors dealing with loneliness, insomnia, or grief, that bedtime drink feels like the only thing that helps them drift off. But this habit is stealing both your sleep and your heart health in ways you never imagined. Here's the cruel irony. Alcohol might make you drowsy, but it destroys the very sleep your heart needs to recover. When you drink before bed, alcohol disrupts your REM sleep cycles. Your heart never gets the deep, restorative rest it needs. Instead, your stress hormone cortisol surges throughout the night, forcing your heart to work overtime while you think you're resting. This is especially common among widows and widowers. After losing a life partner, many seniors turn to alcohol as an emotional coping mechanism. The silence feels too heavy. The bed feels too empty. A shot of brandy or a glass of wine becomes a bridge to unconsciousness. Let me tell you about Eleanor. a 74-year-old retired teacher from Michigan. 3 years after losing her husband, Eleanor started having a small glass of brandy before bed to help her sleep. "Just a little something to quiet my mind," she'd tell herself. But within months, 1 glass became 2, then 3 shots nightly. Eleanor started experiencing chest pains and a racing heart during the night. One frightening evening, she called 911, convinced she was having a heart attack. At the hospital, doctors discovered alcohol-induced arrhythmia. The cardiologist looked her in the eye and said, "Eleanor, your heart can't handle this stress anymore. You're playing with fire." That was Eleanor's turning point. She found a grief support group at her church, developed a new nighttime routine with chamomile tea and gentle stretching, and gradually her sleep improved naturally. Most importantly, her dangerous heart symptoms disappeared completely. Tonight, I want to challenge you to try something different. Instead of reaching for alcohol, try this simple routine. Brew a cup of chamomile tea, spend 5 minutes doing deep breathing exercises, and turn off all screens an hour before bed. Your heart will thank you, and you might discover that real rest feels better than alcohol-induced unconsciousness. Eleanor often tells me now, "I thought I needed alcohol to handle my grief, but what I really needed was to learn how to grieve in a way that honored both my husband's memory and my own health." 5. The healing path forward, your heart's second chance. Here's the most important thing I want you to remember. It's never too late for your heart to heal. Research from the Mayo Clinic shows that when seniors eliminate alcohol, their heart function can recover 60 to 80% of its original strength. Your heart has been waiting patiently for you to give it this chance. Let me share 3 simple substitutes that my healthiest patients swear by. First, pomegranate juice mixed with sparkling water. The antioxidants actually help repair damaged blood vessels. Second, hibiscus tea, which naturally lowers blood pressure as effectively as some medications. Third, tart cherry juice before bed. It contains natural melatonin that helps you sleep without disrupting your heart rhythm. For social situations, remember this: you don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing health. Many communities now have active senior groups that focus on healthy activities instead of drinking. Check your local YMCA, library, or community center. I'm going to challenge you to a 30-day experiment. Track 3 things daily: your resting heart rate, your energy level from 1 to 10, and your sleep quality. I predict you'll be amazed at the improvements you see when you give your heart the break it deserves. Your heart has carried you through every moment of your life. It's beaten faithfully through your wedding day, the birth of your children, your career challenges, and your greatest joys. After all it's given you, doesn't it deserve your protection now? Today is the perfect day to take that first step. Your future self, your family, and most importantly, your heart will thank you for the courage to choose differently. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Which of these 4 drinks are you ready to replace first? Share this video with someone you care about, because heart health information like this could save a life. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more health tips designed specifically for seniors who want to live their golden years with strength and vitality. Remember, every heartbeat is a gift. Let's make sure you have many more to enjoy.